Coming up on AC 24/7, President Biden makes a surprise visit to Ukraine and vows continued support. His message to our European allies. Plus, we'll tell you what we know about the potential future of CNN anchor Don Lemon following sexist remarks made on air. And we'll show you how charity is using technology to tackle a national mechanic shortage and how it's helping those who've paid their debt to society. Hey there, welcome to AC 24/7. I'm your host, Lamar Baldwin. President Joe Biden made a surprise visit this week to Ukraine, followed by a planned trip to Poland. It's the latest step in the administration's effort to keep pressure on Russia to end its invasion of Ukraine. The Advocate Channel's John Lawrence reports.
There should be no doubt. Our support for Ukraine will not waver. NATO will not be divided, and we will not tire.
President Joe Biden delivering a defiant declaration at the Royal Castle in Warsaw, a promise of resilience that neighboring Ukraine will not fall.
Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia. Never.
The president called for steadiness of purpose, days before the first anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
President Putin ordered his tanks to roll into Ukraine. He thought we would roll over. He was wrong.
Biden last spoke from the storied setting in March of 2022, when the resolve of Ukraine and the strengthening of the NATO alliance were only beginning to emerge. The resolve underscored by President Biden's historic trip to Kyiv, standing side by side with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday. While in Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin framed the contours of the conflict as an existential battle with the West.
The elite of the West do not conceal their ambitions, which is to strategically defeat Russia, finish us off once and for all.
Putin announcing Russia is suspending its participation in the New START treaty, the last major nuclear arms agreement between the U.S. and Russia. Back in Poland, the president focused on future generations and what remains at stake.
Freedom, the enemy of the tyrant, and the hope of the brave and the truth of the ages. Freedom.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Congresswoman Barbara Lee has officially announced her bid for the U.S. Senate. The Congresswoman is looking to fill a seat held by retiring Senator Dianne Feinstein. In her announcement video, Lee highlighted her record in House, including her no vote against the war in Afghanistan. She also mentioned personal aspects of her life, like her decision to have an abortion. Lee will face stiff competition from at least two other prominent Democrats. CNN News anchor Don Lemon is set to return to work following sexist comments. CNN executive announced Lemon will have to participate in formal training after his comments about former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. Lemon apologized to employees for his comments. Haley is using Lemon's comments on social media as a way to raise funds for her campaign. There's a labor shortage in the U.S., and trade groups say a lack of mechanics is costing us time and money. But there's one program that's developed an unconventional solution, applying virtual technology to solve real-world problems. The Advocate Channel's Pete Montine tells us how it's also helping people get back on their feet.
It is the newest fix for a vocation in short supply, virtual reality.
She is replacing the tire.
Here at Maryland nonprofit Vehicles for Change, the first tool trainee mechanics use is a pair of Oculus VR goggles. The simulated shop floor has it all, from the lift to the quintessential impact wrench.
It's going to expedite the process of getting folks entry-level ready to come into the garages.
The latest industry forecast says retirements from dealerships and repair shops will rise nationwide. There are 76,000 new openings for trained auto technicians each year, but 37,000 of those jobs go unfilled.
We did a search the other day, and Indeed, just in the state of Maryland, for auto technicians locally, and it was over 2,600 technicians.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
After a little bit of instruction, I was ready to give it a try.
Is my hair okay?
Lesson 1, changing the oil. The cool thing about this is you can move around the shop, but also interact with the world around you. I'm taking the controller and grabbing the lift handle here and moving it up, and up goes the car.
The VR is really, as you saw, almost as real as you can get without having your hands on a car.
Martin Schwartz came up with this idea to supplement his charity. It's given out 7,500 donated cars to low-income families. But it's also his mechanics getting a second chance. The shop here is an internship for prisoners re-entering society.
It's a field that is a little bit more lenient and is willing to hire people with a criminal background, and you can make quite a living.
Terrence Grandy says his life was the streets of Baltimore's drug trade. Now he's putting cars back on the street.
For someone that's incarcerated that comes home to a stable financial situation, that enables them not to go back to do the same thing that led them in prison.
The goal here is to spread this technology across the country, even teaching prisoners still behind bars. Marcus Butler started his virtual reality training as part of a work release program. He is days away from the end of his prison sentence and the start of a new career.
I have a trade, a skill that is with me. I learned it, I know it. And no matter where I go, it's always cars, there's cars everywhere. So I always have a job.
Pete Muntean, CNN, Washington.
Millions of people from Brazil to the Caribbean to New Orleans and beyond are celebrating Mardi Gras, the last day before Ash Wednesday and the beginning of Lent. Mardi Gras, which is actually French for Fat Tuesday, is a culmination of carnival season which is held all over the world. New Orleans has the nation's most popular celebration, but Alabama has the oldest Mardi Gras celebration in the country. Mardi Gras is known for bright costumes, beads, and king cake and parades. Middle-aged workers who tend to earn low wages have a higher mortality risk. That's according to a new study. Researchers tracked employment and health metrics for 4,000 workers in the U.S. for a 12-year period. All the participants were at least 50 years old when the study began, and in their 60s at the end of the study. Workers with a sustained history of low wages were 38% more likely to die than those who never experienced low wage earning. Low wages are considered annual income below the poverty line for a family of four. The mortality risk was more than twice as high for workers with unsustainable employment and sustained low wages. Some good news if you're in the market for buying a new home. While home prices are still climbing in some places across the country, new data shows some U.S. cities are seeing significant price drops. The Advocate Channel's Cole Higgins reports.
Despite the housing market still seeing soaring prices across the country, some regions are actually seeing double-digit price drops from their peak last year.
We will see house prices continue to weaken in different parts of the country. Now, of course, house prices rose very strongly during much of the pandemic, and we're just retracing some of those price gains.
According to the National Association of Realtors, the price for a single-family median home increased 4% in the fourth quarter from a year ago to more than $378,000. But their data also revealed in some markets, prices are actually declining. San Francisco had the biggest price drop in the country, down 6.1% from a year ago and 21% lower from its peak. A similar decline in nearby San Jose, California, which was the most expensive place to purchase a home in the U.S. in the fourth quarter, with a median price of more than $1.5 million. The latest data finds that price is down 5.8% from a year ago and 17% off its peak.
But nonetheless, for folks that have bought a home in the last 6-12 months, it's going to be somewhat painful because they're going to see the value of their home fall, here pretty significantly.
In Southern California, home prices in Anaheim were down 1.6% from a year ago. And in Los Angeles, prices are down 1.3%. Outside of the Golden State, several cities also saw declines, including Boulder, Colorado, down 2%, Boise, Idaho, where prices fell 3.4%, and Austin, Texas, where prices are down 1.3%. For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
United Airlines is giving families better options to sit together. The airline is changing how it seats passengers. Kids 12 and under can now sit next to an adult, accompanying an extra fee. The changes are immediate, but the official policy won't take effect until next month. United says if adjacent seats are not available because of full flights or last-minute bookings, passengers can switch to another flight for free if the preferred seating is available. We are celebrating Black History Month. Today we want to celebrate WNBA superstar Sheryl Swoopes. Sheryl Swoopes is the first woman ever drafted into the WNBA. Swoopes led her WNBA team to the first league championship in 1997, and there is a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. Sheryl has a lot of firsts, including the first woman to have a Nike shoe named after her and the first triple MVP winner in the WNBA. Thank you for joining us for AC 24/7. For more content that advocates to you, go to advocatechannel.com and make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For the Advocate Channel, I'm Lamont Baldwin.